You know them as presidents, but before they led the country, some of America's most well-known and some forgotten leaders started out in the U.S. Senate. On today's episode of Deca Facts, we're counting down 10 U.S. presidents who were senators first, including what they did before the presidency, how the public viewed them during their terms, and what history has to say about them now. Let's jump in. Number 10. William Henry Harrison. Before becoming the 9th president and dying just 31 days into his term, William Henry Harrison served as a senator from Ohio from 1825 to 1828. He was better known as a war hero than a politician, especially after the Battle of Tippecanoe. Though his presidential campaign was wildly popular, featuring catchy slogans like "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," his presidency was too brief to leave any political legacy. At the time, his death shocked the nation and set an important precedent for presidential succession. Number 9. Franklin Pierce. Pierce served as a senator from New Hampshire between 1837 and 1842, though he left early, disillusioned with national politics. He returned a decade later to win the presidency in 1852. While initially seen as a unifying Democrat, his popularity quickly collapsed. His support of the Kansas-Nebraska Act inflamed sectional tensions and is widely blamed for helping push the nation towards civil war. Even during his term, he faced harsh criticism, and today, historians consistently rank him among the least effective presidents. Number 8. James Monroe. As a senator from Virginia in the 1790s, Monroe was part of the very first generation of American lawmakers. He went on to become a two-term president, and unlike many others on this list, he was extremely popular during his time in office. In fact, his presidency is remembered as the era of good feelings due to national unity and economic growth. His Monroe Doctrine became a lasting foundation of U.S. foreign policy. Public favor was high throughout both terms, and he left office respected and well-liked. Number 7. John Quincy Adams. Adams served as a senator from Massachusetts from 1803 to 1808, but clashed with his own party and didn't enjoy much support. His presidency was marked by frustration and fierce political opposition, especially after he won a controversial election in 1824 that had to be decided in the House of Representatives. As president, he was viewed as intelligent but aloof, and many voters saw him as out of touch. Ironically, Adams found far more favor after the presidency when he served in the House of Representatives as an outspoken abolitionist and legal advocate, earning him renewed respect. Number 6. Martin Van Buren. The Little Magician was a skillful political strategist and served as a senator from New York from 1821 to 1828. He later became Andrew Jackson's right-hand man, serving as Secretary of State and Vice President before winning the 1836 election. At first, Van Buren was popular, but the Panic of 1837, a massive financial crisis, destroyed his credibility. Unemployment, bank failures, and economic instability dominated his single term, and public opinion turned against him rapidly. He lost re-election badly in 1840. Number 5. Andrew Jackson. Jackson's Senate career was short and mostly unremarkable, but his military fame and tough frontier image made him a national icon. As the 7th president, he was hugely popular with working-class voters and seen as a champion of the common man. However, his presidency was highly polarizing. He dismantled the National Bank, expanded executive power, and enforced the Indian Removal Act, which led to the Trail of Tears. While beloved in his day by supporters, his legacy today is fiercely debated, with critics highlighting the human cost of his policies. Number 4. James Buchanan. Buchanan, who served as a senator from Pennsylvania for over a decade, was highly experienced in diplomacy and government before becoming the 15th president. Unfortunately, experience didn't equal effectiveness. His presidency was a disaster in the eyes of both contemporaries and historians. As the country inched towards civil war, Buchanan took little meaningful action, insisting that states couldn't secede, but also that the federal government couldn't stop them. He left office widely disliked and is often ranked as the worst U.S. president in historical surveys. Number 3. Warren G. Harding. Harding, the first sitting U.S. senator to be elected president, served Ohio in the Senate from 1915 to 1921. He campaigned on a return to normalcy after World War I and was broadly popular during his presidency. After his sudden death in 1923, a string of scandals emerged, including the infamous Teapot Dome affair. Harding's public image plummeted posthumously, though some now view him more sympathetically for his moderate policies and efforts toward racial equality, including opposing lynching. Number 2. Andrew Johnson. Johnson was a senator from Tennessee, and the only Southern senator to remain loyal to the Union during the Civil War. which made him an appealing vice presidential choice for Abraham Lincoln in 1864. But when Lincoln was assassinated and Johnson became the 17th president, things unraveled quickly. He opposed many Reconstruction efforts, vetoed civil rights laws, and clashed constantly with Congress. His presidency was deeply unpopular, especially in the North, and he became the first U.S. president to be impeached. Though he avoided removal by one Senate vote, his reputation never recovered. Number 1. Lyndon B. Johnson. Before becoming the 36th president, Lyndon B. Johnson was one of the most influential senators in U.S. history. Representing Texas from 1949 to 1961, Johnson climbed the ranks, quickly becoming Senate Majority Whip, then Minority Leader, and eventually Majority Leader. He was known for his mastery of the legislative process, famously using the Johnson treatment, an aggressive face-to-face persuasion tactic to get things done. When he became president after John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963, Johnson leveraged his Senate experience to pass sweeping legislation. He was highly effective in his first term, pushing through landmark laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These were historic wins that dramatically reshaped American society and earned him praise from many civil rights leaders. However, his popularity plummeted during his second term due to the escalation of the Vietnam War. Massive protests, media scrutiny, and mounting casualties turned public sentiment against him. Though once seen as a legislative genius, Johnson chose not to run for re-election in 1968. His legacy remains complex, admired for domestic progress, but deeply criticized for foreign policy missteps. That concludes this list of 10 U.S. presidents who came from the Senate, each with their own rise, fall, and legacy. Some were wildly popular, others not so much, but all of them carried their Senate experience into the Oval Office, shaping the nation in ways big and small. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more presidential facts, political deep dives, and history you didn't know you needed. Right here on Deck of Facts. Until next time.